Welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to be covering a topic that I get asked a lot about, and that is how to get my website to rank on Google and other search engines. Let's open up a website just to have a look at what we're talking about, because ranking on a search engine seems like it should be fairly straightforward, but it's actually not. There's quite a lot of steps involved. Now, a common email that I get starts off something like, "My site's not ranking on Google." Now, the thing is that that statement in and of itself doesn't mean anything. Let me show you why. I'm going to go to Google. This is an example of Google, but I'll go to the Google website. So google.com or .au or any of the other versions. This is the Google website. Now, to say that you're not on Google doesn't mean anything, because here's Google. The only thing that's on Google at the moment is Google. For you to show up on Google, you have to appear for a search phrase or a search term. Now, the search term that we're going to use today is one called cloud computing. Now, I've just chosen that because I'm going to post an article about cloud computing. So let me type in cloud computing into the search here. Now, what you'll see is all of the Google results that come up. And these are broken up into a few different areas. The top 3 results are paid ads. These people are paying to be there. So if you said to me, I want to be on Google search results, the first thing you can think about is, do you want to pay for it? If you do, you can, in a few minutes, you could be right here at this number 1 spot, number 2 or number 3, or you can be in these spots down the side here. Now, you can do that very, very quickly, but you need to pay for that. And that's how Google makes most of its revenue. It sells this advertising space to people who want to promote themselves to potential customers. Now, underneath these ads, or these paid ads, is what we call the organic results. And it starts here with this Wikipedia result, and it goes from there. Now, the organic results are free. Nobody pays Google anything for these results. But it's no accident that certain sites appear at the top and other sites appear below. So, imagine that I wanted to be in this spot here, Wikipedia. The Wikipedia website is here at the moment in the number 1 organic spot for cloud computing. Now, it's a bit tricky to think, how did it get there? If we take a look at Google, let's just see what Google is. I'll show you. This is a building. This is the Google headquarters in Palo Alto in California. It's full of people, very, very intelligent people, who run the Google system. Did the people that work at Google decide that Wikipedia go here? No, they didn't. These are called servers. It's the Google servers, the Google computers, that decide where a particular website shows up on the internet. So it's not your website that decides, it's not the people at Google that decides, it's the Google algorithm. The algorithm is the set of instructions that these servers follow when looking at your website. Now, how Google does this is these servers here, they crawl along the internet and they'll end up at a website. Now, here's the website I'm interested in. This is gozone.com.au, and on a regular basis, these computers from Google come along and look at my website, and they make decisions about my website. So the first thing to think about is, if you want people to find you on Google, are the words that they're searching for, remember before I searched for cloud computing, do these words exist on your website? Now, at the moment, the phrase cloud computing does not exist on this website. So no matter what happens, this website will never ever rank for the phrase cloud computing. Now, you might be running a business that sells games, or maybe it sells artworks, or maybe you sell swimming pools or car repairs. It doesn't matter. You've got to start by thinking about what will people search for, and make sure those words exist on your website. Let's put this into practice. I'm going to get started by creating a page about cloud computing on this site. So I'm going to log in first of all. And I'm going to go to my list of pages. So here are all the pages that are on the website at the moment. None of these pages are about cloud computing. So I'm going to add a new page. Now what's interesting with Google is when they're looking at a page, so this Wikipedia page here for example, they look at a whole range of factors. They look at what's called the page title, that's this blue area. They look at the address of the page, that's this green space here. They look at what's called the meta description, which is this black area here. And this is all called metadata for your page. This is the meta title, this is the URL, and this black area is the meta description. Now, if I want to rank well on Google, I've got to make sure that I have all of this information set up properly. Let's go to our page here. Now, I could call this page, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, have a think about it. If I call the page, page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Google comes along and reads this page, what are they going to think? They're going to think that this page is about the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going to have no idea that my page is about cloud computing. So here, under metadata, in the meta title section, I'm going to call my page cloud computing. I could even put something else like cloud computing brought to you by GoZone. It's up to you, it's totally up to you. Now what will happen with your Elastic software is when you click off the meta title, you'll notice here in the meta description, a meta description gets created for you. Now you can leave it the same or you can change it if you like. The default says discover informative and interesting information about, and then what you put here in the meta title, cloud computing brought to you by GoZone. Now you might adjust that a little bit. I'm going to adjust that myself. Okay, but I'm happy with that. It says discover informative and interesting information about cloud computing brought to you by GoZone. Great. In the meta keywords section here, it's got all the keywords you've used in your meta title. Cloud computing brought to you by GoZone. Now I don't want any of those last parts, so I'm just going to keep the cloud computing. And here is my page URL, or the address of my page. So this will be gozone.com.au/cloud computing brought to you by GoZone. Now again, I just want to have /cloud computing. Okay, so my page is set up now. The metadata of my page is set so that when Google comes along and reads my page, they'll have a good idea about what the topic of my page is. Now this metadata, if you'll remember, is what I said shows up here. This meta title is the blue section here. The meta description often becomes the black section here. And the page URL becomes the green section. So great, so I've got my metadata set out the way I want. Your page title, so coming down here to page content, the page title is very important too. Because when Google comes to a page, so let's have a look at this Wikipedia page here. What Google does is it comes along and it reads the URL, the page title, so this is the page title here, it reads this, it reads the words on the page, it reads these links here, it reads all of the information, it goes through and goes through and goes through and reads all of the information on this page. It uses all of this information to make a decision about what the topic of your page is. Now this page makes it very obvious that it's about cloud computing. There's cloud computing in the URL, cloud computing in the title, cloud computing in the text. I bet there's even cloud computing somewhere in one of these links. If we scroll through, there's definitely the word computer and a few variations here. So it's no accident that Google likes this page and thinks that this page is about cloud computing. And that's why it's made it #1 in the result. If you want your pages to show up on Google, you must have the words that people will search for on the page. Now, cloud computing might sound a little bit like storm computing, for example. Now, storm and cloud are two different words. So if you put storm computing in, you probably won't find this page. You'll find another page, a page about storm computing. So you've got to be careful and think about your customer, think about the people searching for you, and think about what they're searching for. Use the words they're looking for and use them on your page. Now here's my page about cloud computing. Now I don't want to put the brought to you by GoZone part, so let's get rid of that. Now I've written a little article here about cloud computing. And I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste that into my page here. So we're working in the page content section of the page now. Now starting from the top, we've got a few spaces there, let's get rid of those. Okay, so here's my article. Let me make that just a little bit bigger, make it easier for you to see. There's my article there in the page content section. Now the first thing I want to do is my page title, you can see here title, is going to be called Cloud Computing. But I've got a subtitle here. So I'm going to give that a heading. I might give that heading 2. Notice it becomes a little bit bigger. What a heading does is it tells Google that this piece of information is more important than the rest of the information. And you'll notice in my heading, I've got cloud computing in the words there. Now here are the rest of my words. I might make sure that I've got cloud computing, mentioned a few times, cloud computing here, local computing there. It's good to have a variety of different uses of the word. I've got cloud without computing, I'll have computing without cloud, I've got in the cloud, I've got internet connection. So I've got a variety of different words around the topic. You don't want to go cloud computing, cloud computing, cloud computing, cloud computing, cloud computing 20 times in a page. Google has become very good at detecting things like that. If it doesn't look natural, then Google will actually penalize you. You think you're doing the right thing to boost up your rankings, but what you're actually doing is pushing your rankings down. So let's recap. My metadata here is effective and works, and it has the phrases cloud computing in it. My page title has the phrase cloud computing in it. My actual page text has the phrase cloud computing in it. Now the last thing I might think about doing is putting a link into this text. So I might say something at the end like, if you would like to learn more about cloud computing, then contact GoZone. Great. Now I'm going to highlight the phrase learn more about cloud computing. And the reason I'm going to do that is you don't want to use just the word cloud computing everywhere. You want to incorporate other words with it. So I'm going to turn this into a link, and I'm going to link to my contact page. There we go. You see it's turned into a link there. I might even change that title, put a couple more words in. Cloud computing. Cloud computing and what it means. Alright, now I have a really nice article here. Cloud computing in all the metadata, cloud computing in the title, cloud computing here in the article itself, and a link with the words cloud computing in it. When I click Save and View, it'll create a page all about cloud computing. So, let's look at this page now. Do you remember I added the URL cloud computing? So now I've got a page called gozone.com.au/cloud computing. Here's the page title, Cloud Computing and what it means. Here's the meta title, Cloud Computing brought to you by GoZone. And here is my article all about cloud computing. And finally, here's my link that has the word cloud computing in it. And if I click on that link, it takes me to the contact page where people can contact me and ask questions. So what I've done with my cloud computing page is I've set up a page that's all about cloud computing and that Google can understand and read. So this is the first step. If you want your pages to rank well on Google, think about what your customers will search for and create pages on your site that are about that particular topic and use the words in them that your customers will search for. If you can do that for all of your pages, what you'll find is that over time, Google will get to know and trust your site and be more willing to recommend people to come and visit. There is much more to it than that, but that gets you pointed in the right direction. If you can set up your pages with good use of keywords, you'll have a good quality page that allows people to find you on Google.